I'm all out of bullets.
VRified Games.
Take that blasted thing off, you'll cause an accident. How can you see anyway?
Full color pass-through baby with 105 degrees of FOV. Besides, we're driving down a road in Depression-era America. In the Deep South, this Model T's top speed is a whooping 12 miles per hour, and as it's Depression-era America, we're not exactly bumper to bumper. In gridlock traffic, we're the only ones on the road. For Christ's sake.
Be that as it may, still...
What do you mean?
Take it off.
Oh, come on.
The effect isn't exactly working fine.
I know VRified Games aren't exactly industrial light and magic,
it looks like a series of
but
cardboard cutouts on your head. I mean, come on.
the composite effect is fine.
When you turn your head, it's all flat and cardboard. I mean, come on. Take it off. I mean, come on.
What? Cardboard. Like your acting
Come on.
ability.
My what?
Nothing.
My acting is cardboard? Dude, you literally play yourself on Stranger Things. Come on, it literally looks like your VR HMD is made of cardboard cutouts.
Do not mention Google Cardboard in my presence, woman. It's okay. Oh, here's the turn ahead.
Speaking of turn ahead, please don't. The effect is nuts when you turn your head.
Well, I mean, it'll try, but... Anyway, come on, how does this work?
Well, if I read this correctly, you just import the custom profile into UEVR to enjoy Alone in the Dark in VR with 6 DOF weapons.
Nice, but come on, the player's gonna want to choose me to play in VR,
Oh.
right?
Who am I kidding? Of course, they will choose you.
Yeah,
Sarcasm.
well, face it,
Don't be so sure. Flat screen isn't dead, and this game was designed to be played in third person on a flat screen.
first-person VR with motion controls trumps all.
Well, how about we let the player decide, huh? They can still play in third person.
Why would they want that? Aw.
Well, I say we put it to the player.
When they could literally be me, David Harbour, stud muffin extraordinary.
Choose me and play in
Or
third
choose
person
me,
VR.
play in first person, literally shoot in any direction.
Well, I say we put it to the player, third person VR if they wanted.
First person, literally shoot in any direction. 6 DOF, baby, come on, it's a no-brainer.
No, brain. Got that right.
Oh man, Ed, what do I do? What do I pick?
Yo, it is, man. What's up? What's up? What's
I
up?
don't know what to choose. Do I play in first person? 6 degrees of freedom motion controls as freaking Hellboy here?
One problem?
No, the other one.
Oh.
Yeah. Or I can literally be behind this lovely lady in full 3D and play in third person.
Yo, man, relax, man, relax. Yo.
I don't know what to do.
Yo, listen up. It's UEVR, man. It's customizable. You play your way. Not only that, but you can change it on the fly. So at any time, you can change to third person, you can change to first person. Motion controls, 3 DOF, 6 DOF, no
Yeah,
DOF.
you're right. Okay.
It's all to you, man.
All right. For the sake of the video, let's go with Hellboy.
Should I?
Okay, let's go. Okay, shh.
Okay, man. Yeah.
Now, can you take it off?
Yup, it symbolically disappeared. This is artistic license to convey the player will now inhabit my body.
Without as much as buying dinner first. Blasted doors locked. Do you?
No. I'm good, had a whole Big Mac earlier. Let's get in game. Don't sweat it, sweet cheeks. I'm player one and I'm ready. I am so hot for you right now.
Down boy, we got a AAA game to play in VR first.
Aww.
What's up, Lil? Yeah. And Living Dead Talking Head, coming to you live with Daigo and VRified Games. How we doing, Daigo?
Shitting my pants, Ed. How about you?
Well, I'm also shitting them. Alone in the Dark. 2024 edition.
That's right, Ed. We're playing the latest remake of Alone in the Dark in VR with UEVR in first person with 60OF motion controls.
Hot damn.
Now what do we got here?
Yeah, I say latest remake. It's not the first remake slash reboot that this series has had. It's a little complicated.
Well, you're telling me, man.
Yeah, well, this is the granddaddy of survival horror. I mean, if you say survival horror to people, top of the list is going to be Resident Evil, it's going to be Silent Hill. That's where people would attribute the origins, but not so fast, guys. Both Resident Evil and Silent Hill owe a huge debt to the original Alone in the Dark released in 1992. Alone in the Dark, 1992, was the first quote-unquote survival horror game. Now, it could be argued that Sweet Home preceded it on the NES, and yes, that is true if you lived in Japan, but for the rest of the world, Alone in the Dark came first. But the basic premise is the same. You are alone in the mansion, hence the title. You are in the dark.
Oh.
No, but let's look at the tropes. Tank controls, present and correct?
Yep.
Fixed camera angles?
Yep.
Owing to the likes of Dario Argento's Dutch camera style and Alfred Hitchcock's kind of eye.
Yep, all present and correct.
You got 3D polygonal characters over 2D backgrounds.
Check.
Okay, so Silent Hill would go on to innovate in that aspect, but in terms of Resident Evil to Alone in the Dark, yep, the comparisons are very, very evident. So there you have it. If you ever wanted to step into a slice of gaming history and play the quintessential original survival horror game that inspired the likes of Resident Evil and Silent Hill, this is the baby. This is the one right here. Alone in the Dark. Now, if you're familiar with the remake from 2024, the story is basically the same. He plays Edward Carnby, a supernatural detective, whatever the hell that is, but he's a supernatural detective in the game. You go to this mansion, supernatural things are afoot, and you have to solve the mystery as to why. And guys, it is hard as nails. It is hard as nails. You can put it down to the clunky controls, but there's more to it than that. There is no hand holding, the puzzles are rock hard, gameplay is rock hard. It's definitely worth your time.
Huh.
So Alone in the Dark was followed up a year later with Jack in the Dark, which is basically an expansion pack of sorts. It's a little bit bizarre. Kind of have a Santa Claus and I don't know what the hell's going on. It's a bizarre title. It was followed up with a sequel proper in the same year called Alone in the Dark 2, and that was followed up with Alone in the Dark 3. Now, the reason why I've skimmed over those is it's basically more of the same. With each subsequent sequel, yes, you have a change in setting, but the core gameplay remains the same. The only real upgrade you get is in graphical fidelity.
Whoa. That's one big tree to fit inside a conservatory.
So it lay dormant then, from 1995 onwards. Resident Evil and its sequels enjoyed immense success, Silent Hill also. So the IP owners of Alone in the Dark kind of went, okay, we want in on this, but we want to modernize it slightly.
Huh? What?
The original trilogy of Alone in the Dark were set at kind of turn of the century, well, turn of the last century, like 1900s, Depression era America. That was when they were set. They had a sort of a Victorian / American Gothic kind of art style, but the likes of Silent Hill and the likes of Resident Evil enjoyed modern settings, and the developers at the time believed a modern setting for Alone in the Dark was the way to go. So they came up with Alone in the Dark: The New Nightmare. This would be the first remake / reboot. Now, it has since been retconned that the game is in fact a sequel to the originals, and the reason the protagonist's name is Edward Carnby is convoluted, but For all intents and purposes, it's a sequel slash reboot. But it is a remake, come on. The series was dormant since 95. So this was released in 2001. And in a way that the original Resident Evil was inspired by Alone in the Dark, this new Alone in the Dark was inspired by Resident Evil. So it takes a lot of the combat upgrades, puzzle systems, and transposes them over to Alone in the Dark, along with a modern setting. The monster design, atmosphere, etc. all seems like a Resident Evil game, more so than an Alone in the Dark game. Not a bad thing at all in 2001. This is what people loved, who loved the genre. Was it a far cry from the original Alone in the Dark? Yes, it was. Graphically,
Don't mind if I do.
it was worlds apart, but you can't deny that DNA was there since Alone in the Dark started the whole thing anyway. So after A New Nightmare, the series sort of lay dormant again until Atari picked it up, and oh boy, 2008's Alone in the Dark. Yeah, this would be the second remake slash reboot slash sequel slash god, what the hell is going on? Okay, so it's a modern setting, but the fixed camera angles are completely ditched. In place of an over-the-shoulder third-person camera, and you can switch to first-person. Now, this game is kind of a victim of too many chefs in the kitchen. There is a lot of ideas being thrown around, and none of it works, none of it mashes together. Like, they had this whole idea of solving real-world problems with real-world solutions. So you had to use like the physics engine to pick up a fire hose, and then you can throw it down, and then you can climb down the fire hose. But the problem there is, if there's no prompt, how do you know to do that? You're supposed to think like, what would you do in the real world? That's the whole idea. And yes, on paper it seems great, but you know, some level of hand-holding is needed, especially when something new and groundbreaking, as they were trying, was being attempted here. Sadly, it was let down a lot. There was complaints regarding FOV being very, very narrow, driving mechanics being very clunky, and overall the physics-based controls being, dare I say, unresponsive. Now, a remaster of sorts was released on PlayStation 3, the original being exclusive to Xbox, called Alone in the Dark Inferno. Now, it's the same exact game, but they've addressed the issues such as FOV. You know, have a wider FOV. The controls have been refined somewhat. It controls better, but it is the exact same game. Incidentally, we had covered the Wii version in VR with Dolphin VR previously, so you can check out that video if you want. Shameless plug. Over. And the series went into dormancy again. You're seeing a trend here. It's like every decade has an Alone in the Dark now for some reason. But in 2015 you had Alone in the Dark Illumination. This game is frickin' bizarre. Okay, so it's an asymmetrical multiplayer game. Basically, you're one of 4 players. You go out there and it's player versus enemy.
I need the key.
The whole idea is the enemies don't like the light. So yeah, they essentially ripped off Alan Wake. It's neither here nor there. The game is mostly forgettable. It's multiplayer only. It is billed as a sequel to the 2008 game and the original, so the series is convoluted as hell. Woo. Okay, anyway, fast forward 9 years and you get Alone in the Dark 2024, the latest remake.
Please do not touch the boiler. It is working after all. While the sabotage has caused a leak, only the decorative plate has been completely ruined. Let's wait for Mr. Chance to turn up and he can take a look at the leak. Mr. Waits.
Now, thankfully this severs all ties completely with the originals. As in, it's not a quasi-sequel, reboot, anything. It's not connected. It's a brand new take on Alone in the Dark.
That doesn't look safe.
Now, it takes the premise of the original game and it runs with it. It expands on it. So for all intents and purposes, it is the 1992 game, but the action has been upped. When you play the game as originally intended, it's in a third-person, over-the-shoulder view, not dissimilar from the Resident Evil remakes. The voice acting is tremendous. They've got a lot of talent behind them. It adds gravitas to the game. It adds a level of authenticity. It's really cool. The storyline itself is fairly linear, fairly straightforward, but it's survival horror. What do you want? It's not exactly Shakespeare. Now, some criticism has been thrown at the game in the sense that gameplay isn't up to par, or, you know, it's let down in places, monster design. But I mean, that's kind of because it's a victim of its own IP. You see, there's a level of expectation when you say you're going to remake Alone in the Dark, the original survival horror game. So it's been hyped up in people's imaginations to the point that whatever you produce, it's never going to live up to expectations of everybody. Just can't. But what you have here is a fine action-adventure game. It's a fine survival horror game. It's a hell of a lot of fun, and in VR, in 60OF, with the weapons and everything. Yeah, it's really cool. I really enjoy it. I didn't play it flat. I held off, and my first playthrough was in VR. I've since gone back to it flat. And yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of it. Now, when it comes to the UEVR implementation, there is a profile created by the user Angelus, and I'll link his profile in the description here. He went ahead and did some work to make it a 60 OF first-person game, and fair play. It's pretty cool. So shout out to Angelus, and I'll also link his channel as well so you can check out his content. Now, with UEVR, the cutscenes are kind of broken in VR. Like, they don't work at all. Now, thankfully you can toggle that. You can toggle it back to third person at any time by pressing left control, which will give you the correct camera angles to view the cutscenes.
Okay.
However, your character model will be invisible, but it's better than nothing. You could probably set up a toggle for a 2D screen as well to have it displayed in 2D, so you get to see the cutscenes as they were originally intended also. If you wanted to, it's very easy to do in UEVR. So, just making you aware of that. Other than that, yeah, it plays really, really well.
I need the key.
There are some issues with controls, as in your character feels like he's floating, but these issues are also present in the base game. It's not a UEVR thing. And that might get fixed with an update to Alone in the Dark at some point down the line. So yeah, I had an absolute blast. Love the voice cast, the acting, love the atmosphere, the whole Deep South, New Orleans, Bayou, Voodoo, all of that. It works really, really well. Blends together so well. This game is dripping in atmosphere. It's like a bizarre Mardi Gras gone wrong. It's so cool. The creature design, yeah, you might think it's a bit generic. It is, again,
I need the key.
kind of like Alone in the Dark, the New Nightmares take, where it's inspired heavily by Resident Evil monsters, Silent Hill monsters, rather than their own original Alone in the Dark monsters. So yeah, you will look at the monsters and go, oh, I've seen you in another game. But it's all good. It's still fun. I love it. So yeah, this is another win for UEVR. Absolute blast. If you're survival horror fans, give it a go. You won't be disappointed. Hell of a lot of fun. Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
What are you doing? Who are you?
Whoa, pardon me, excuse me. My name is Edward Carnby, private investigator. I hope you don't mind we let ourselves inside.
I do mind. This is private property. You can't just barge in here.
I'm sorry about all this, but I'm looking for my uncle. It's urgent, and no one was answering the door.
We can't hear you knocking anymore. None of us can. Who is your uncle, darling?
Jeremy. Am I right? She has that Heartwood gloom, doesn't she?
That's right. I'm Emily Hartwood. I just came to make sure my uncle is all right.
Well, he is unavailable right now. You will have to come back another day.
Unavailable how? Is he sleeping? We can wait.
He's lost.
Don't I know you from somewhere?
Who's your man again, Miss Hartwood?
My name's Edward Carnby, private investigator.
Splendid.
Enough! All of you! Get back to your rooms! McCarthy, keep your eyes on the child. And you two, please leave immediately.
Look, we're not here to cause any trouble. Just let us see the old man, satisfy the curiosity of my client here, and we'll be off.
Jeremy has gone missing. There's no need to worry, but it might be some time before he turns up. The whole staff is looking for him.
What? He ran off?
I don't have time for any of this. Please, come back tomorrow.
All right, in that case, we'll just wait in his room. You don't mind, do you? It's upstairs, right?
Wait, you can't.
Don't worry, we'll be discreet.
In the corridor. It's the first door on your left. I'll tell Dr. Gray you're here.
Excellent. Thank you, madam. All right, here we are.
Let's look around. See if we can dig up any clues.
Anything important I should look out for? Did he keep a diary?
Not that I know of, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Every night the dark man stands opaque at the threshold of my room, counting the days until my spirit spills out of my tired shape. Only his pallid mask shelters my remaining sanity. Staring directly into the face of that demonic sultan would surely sunder time itself. Would he have looked the same to my father as he struggled for his life? Does his veiled face haunt my niece quite the same way? I wish so that I could rest my soul in that sunburnt convent of Teruel. Would I find you there, Juan? Or Senora Perosi, back from the beyond? Every night I hide from him, moving from one misshapen memory to another. Scenes conjured out of fantasy and delirium. Places I struggle to even paint. I wish I understood your death, Signora. Is there anything I could do for you but bury you in that bleak necropolis? That triumphant chapel rising above the ledges and the oven vaults shall be your sepulchre, where you may rest, and I shall weep.
Hey, you know anything about this? Looks like some sort of talisman.
No, I don't. Oh, help me out here, will you?
I would kill the guy to throw some of this stuff out. I'd be crazy too if I had this much junk lying around.
Oh, wow. That's striking. I want to save this one. All right, come on. I want to go see Dr. Gray. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, I'm coming. Miss Hartwood. Emily? What the hell is going on? Where am I? What the hell was that? What the hell is going on? I can't go that way.
Let them get inside, combat. They're not the good kind.
Are you... Is this your store?
There are no owners here. We both strangers in Jeremy's story.
Jeremy did this. How?
The pact with the dog man. Jeremy warned us, but we didn't think much of it.
I'm Detective Edward Carnby. I was hired by Jeremy's niece to find him.
Oh, yeah? How much she paying you?
$150.
She's sure getting her money's worth tonight. Are you a thinking man, compare?
No, not if I can help it.
You know, I think Jeremy's hiding in a way we can't find him. He has this juju necklace that guides him.
The talisman?
That's right. It's some magic charm he got from Miss Jackson down the street.
The voodoo priestess?
You know surprising things, compare. Yeah, the Mama Loa. Here, take the key. I locked the gate to save her place from all the ghouls and goblins getting inside. Maybe if you go there, you can find some clues to show you the way.
Thanks. I'll have a look. You want to come along?
Nah, I'm gonna stay here for a while.
Oh.
Ah! I'm all out of bullets.
So I guess we're gonna leave it there, you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you've got any thoughts, queries, and critiques, put them down below. If indeed there are any games you'd like us to look at VRifying in the future, put those down below, and we will presumably get back to you eventually. You can also follow us on TikTok for our adventures over there, which are basically condensed versions of what we do over here. And yeah, follow us on all social medias. All links will be in the descriptions, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you there also. Alright, VRified Games out.
I recognize this place. It's Miss Jackson's seance parlor. Let's see if she's got any information on Jeremy's talisman.